Okay, so this video is going to be a VIP video, and also I wanted to ask you guys a few questions because I had a talk with some people on Discord today about how to build a inventory system in VR, and while that is not what I did yet, I did manage to put together some slotting mechanisms which may or may not be suitable. It definitely needs a little bit more work because I know there's some limitations, but I wanted to make something that is fairly generic and can somewhat easily be modified to work as a kind of a slotting grid kind of inventory system once it's done. So it's work in progress. So one of my key requirements for this was that it should be something that was fairly easy to set up and preview during design time. So I have a bottle I made and a box. This is the BP pickup box that you know from the VR template. So I'm just going to duplicate this one a few times here. And so let's say I wanted something to be able to attach to this box here. So you could think of this, if this is the inventory, then I wanted it to be able to hold things. So could say, let's say this one was fairly big like this. And I wanted to be able to slot things. So each of these things should fit into different places, or maybe several places on this box here. I'm just gonna resize it like this. So what I did was to add a slot array or slots array. So that means I can add a number of slots. So once I hit that, you're gonna see a collision sphere show up, and that collision sphere tells me how close things. The slottables, these are now also slottable. So when other slottables are supposed to be considered for check with this slot actor. I call it a slot actor once it has a slot. Obviously it's also a slottable, so you can also plug this into something else, which I'm going to show in the end. We could, for example, put it on the bottom or something else. But you can see I get a transform here, and that transform, you can see the collision sphere moves with it, but it doesn't show me anything what can attach to it right now. So if I expand this one, I have a array here of slottable actors. So with this one, I set it up so I have to define specifically which one of these here fits into this slot here. So if I wanted all of them to fit into it, I would add all three of them. And you see, once I select the first one, it's going to show up a ghost here. So this is one of the shortcomings as it is right now, because obviously if this was a bottle, this was a piece of bread, and this was a piece of wood or something, then I wouldn't know what to show here. So, but during runtime, I wouldn't have a problem of showing it dynamically, depending on what I was holding close to that slot. So that's something I can change later on. But right now, it just shows whatever I select first. So this way I can kind of position things where I want them to. So if I wanted to have more slots in this, I can add a new slot here, and obviously I would need to add each of these things also to this array here. And if it's something, items are generated programmatically or procedurally, then obviously this is going to be something that's going to be pretty easy to do. The only thing, or the only drawback I can think of right now is that I would have to I would have to kind of enumerate things a lot of times, because as it is right now, it's going to check for each slot. So right now I have 2 slots here, so it's going to check each 3 boxes that I have in my level if they are going to be possible to slot into this. So it's going to be 6 checks in total with this setup here. But since all of these 3 boxes are outside the collision sphere, none of them are going to get checked. So it's only going to start to check once this one, for example, passes into the slotting area. So I could set up the last one. Let me just do that real quick. Add a new slot and add 3. There. And then move it in place so I know where I want it to fit in. Something like that. So once I hit play, you can see nothing. Oops. What the fuck? That wasn't supposed to happen. I wonder what just happened. I might have a bug. That's weird. Okay. Anyway, let's do it again. Gonna look into it later on. As you can see, now I can put 3 things in my inventory thingy, and I can take them out again also. So there was actually kind of a big problem with this initially, and that was that things don't like to play well with collision. So once I detach things I'm holding, or it's stuck sitting on something which is a non-physics object, then it's gonna drop its or leave its collision on the physX level where it was. So it's not going to update on the physX level, and that means that you're not going to see anything, but it's going to be there anyway. So that is really annoying. And the workaround for that was to detach everything first from the object that I'm picking, and all the way down to the root, then detach it itself, and then reattach everything again. That was really, really annoying. I had a talk with a guy called Happy Day on Discord about it, and he came, who was the one that came up with this workaround. This is still an issue in 4.15. I know some of the issues are being fixed in 4.16, but that's only for, as far as I know, for if you attach actors to actors, as far as I know. And since I deal with static mesh components, I attach static mesh to components to other components, then I'm still kind of stuck with this issue, this workaround. This, by the way, also works if I wanted to say this one should also have a slot. So I could say this one does also accept, for example, this bottle. So I can say this bottle here should, oops, should also fit on top of this one. It doesn't really make sense in this scenario, but it can totally be done. Okay. Anyway, as you probably can see, there's quite a bit of consideration put into the design time part of it, and it may or may not be the best solution But yeah, that's kind of why I posted this video, because I wanted you guys' opinion on this. Is something like this going to be useful? I mean, if you wanted to make sure that the capsule of the bottle was gonna snap onto this one, which is this setup here is going to be a separate actor, which I'm not too happy about. It's kind of expensive to have a bottle with a lid, and each of them being a separate actor. But that's kind of the setup I have here. So each of the boxes are obviously separate actors, and every time I would have something that would have to that would be able to snap onto each other, then they would have to be separate actors as it is right now. I don't know if you can do this with components instead. I suppose you can, but I mean, with this, with the built-in logic coming from the VR template and the default template, which I based most of my stuff on here. You can see I just removed the boxes here, but they were here. Fucked up something at some time, but the blue boxes that went over here, they were also separate actors. So all the logic that was built that way, I kind of just inherited and built upon. Yeah, so I wonder if there's an easier or better and more performant way of doing it. Also, if each slot, let's say this is a 15 by 15, that's kind of extreme, maybe 8 by 4 or something, so a total of 32 slots for an inventory. That would be kind of a lot of slots to go through to check every time something gets within reach. So it might not perform too well, but again, that's why I have the collision sphere, so things only getting checked if they are within this this range here. So if things were like this, then it would just check 3. It would actually not check anything. This one wouldn't check anything, and this one wouldn't check anything. But once, oh, that's not true, because the bottle is actually within, no, because it also checks if this is valid in any of the slots here on overlap. So once it passes in here, it checks, is this valid in one of the slots? No, it's not. Then it's gonna get ignored. But if I were to drag in a box in vicinity like this, then it will get checked on tick if it's close to. And the way I check if it's close to is by using a distance. And I suppose you could do a more simple setup, just checking overlap and spawning overlap spheres instead. And I'm pretty sure that would be way more performant. And that might actually be something I may consider, and that would mean I could get rid of the collision sphere and all that stuff, because you kind of have to register and unregister things when they pass in and out through the collision sphere right now, as it is. So yeah, I think I just answered my own question there. Anyway, yeah, as I said, this is work in progress. It's pretty fun to play with. Quite happy about the setup as it is right now, but it does have some shortcomings, like I can't add several things to one slot at the same time. So if I want to stack 5 boxes on one slot and have a number of show up instead, I would obviously have to do that in a child blueprint of the pickup thingy here. Then it might, it may actually work. I just do a little extra. Yeah, I check if the slot is filled. I could add in some more to this struct here, which holds the information about the slot. So it could have something like max stack of something. I don't know. I'll think about this. Let me know if this sounds interesting. I probably won't do a full detailed tutorial video on this unless there's a lot of interest in it, because it takes me a lot of time and I have to do this in my spare time, and that means that I'm not going to be able to come up with new interesting stuff. So if it's something that you want to ask me about, just ask me and I'll be happy to help out. But yeah, if a lot of people are interested in this, I'll see if I can slam something together, and yeah, maybe do a semi-detailed version of this. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, and yeah, let me know what you think.